Hey, welcome to Authentic Influence Live. This is Anthony Chansamu from Authentic Marketer. And today we've got a bit of a special guest event. I haven't done one of these in a while, for those of you who follow me know. But I just felt, if there's one person that's going to bring me back into the world of online interviews, it's going to be my great mate, Natasa Denman. And I'm going to tell you all about who she is and why we're talking today. So Natasa Denman is the ultimate 48-hour author and started her business in May 2010. So do the math on that. She's a highly sought after professional speaker. She's a coach and mentor. And Natasa is a 15-time published author and creator of a game-changing business model called Ultimate 48-Hour Author. Now, she's helped over 900 solopreneurs become first-time published authors in 15 different countries around the world, including Australia, USA, UAE, and Canada. So she's about to do a series of events around Australia, specifically in Sydney and Melbourne, and then also an online webinar. And I'll let her tell you all about that. But let's bring in Natasa. Welcome to the stage.
Hey, Anne. Nice to see you.
Awesome to have you back on. You've been on my podcast a couple of times, but we caught up recently. You did an event in Sydney that was sold out, and it was just amazing to see you in person again after many years. But last time I saw you, you were dancing at my wedding, so that was kind of last. That's all right. That's all right. If you need someone to be your the last person on the dance floor, and that's the girl. So we're going to talk about business writing, specifically writing a book. And the topic of today is writing a book the right move for your business? Because I know it's become popularized. There are a lot of book coaches out there and people selling these type of programs and whatnot, online courses, in-person workshops, whatever. But none I've seen that have had the staying power of the way you do it. And I think the fact that you've helped 900 solopreneurs publish, it just shows like you're doing something right. And you've got a ton of case studies as well. So we'll talk about some of those. So the first question I have for you, Nat, is really, let's talk about boost. Like the question here is around authority, credibility. Does it actually help a business grow? Right? It's the typical, if I do this and I invest, tens of thousands of dollars or whatever it may be into the process, what's the ROI on the other side of that? Right? So yeah, what do you reckon? How does publishing a book, writing and publishing a book impact an entrepreneur's credibility in the industry?
Yeah, amazing. Well, what you said earlier is, yes, there are a lot of people doing it and a lot of people talking about writing books. But they're not really. And so I say your book is your business card on steroids. It really portrays you as an expert in the field and builds that credibility second to none. And I also say that writing your first book is not about the book, but it's about the person you become at the other end of it. You have like this personal transformation where it boosts your confidence and certainty. And I just absolutely love seeing the difference people have internally, which starts to generate those opportunities and growth for them. So I don't know about you, but obviously I've written lots of books and it never gets old. But also it's about what you do with it at the other end. It's not just about writing it and not doing anything with it. Many people have garages full of books. And that's really sad. But you've got to execute the strategies to leverage it and to gain the clients and to gain the speaking gigs and the exposure that's going to build your business.
Okay, so yeah, that was going to be my next question, which was, what are some of the, I guess, misunderstandings or maybe things that first-time authors are not aware of when it comes to leveraging, a book to actually grow a business? Like it's not like you become Amazon #1 bestseller, and we know that we can game that. Like a lot of people are gaming that system, but what does that mean? If I get that title, do I put it on my email signature and all of a sudden my business like doubles in the next 12 months? Like what actually has to happen, post getting the book out there for it to be I guess a commercial success?
Yeah, I think you need to have all of the things that that are the strategies you've got to execute. So you've got to create a speaker bio and put yourself out there as, get out there networking, have your book always there with you. Host some events of your own where you actually take the responsibility, fill the room, and deliver value from the content that's within your book. I mean, the event you came to about a month ago, and I know you've been to that one a few times over the last 11 years I've been doing this, is one we have been running for 11 years, 400 times. And it's the event, I say it's the 8-figure plus event, which has just been rinsed and repeated. And alongside that, a lot of the books sell at the back of the room. And then people, of course, they don't just want the book. Often they want hand holding, and they want the system that is shared within the book, which I'm guessing your audience has expertise and problems they're solving. People are willing to pay a bit more to have it done for them alongside you, or even like that assistance done with you, which is what grows the business. The money is not in the book. My latest book is actually called Book Sales Won't Make You Rich, the real truth, how authors become millionaires. And that's the thing that I love to talk about is the strategy behind it. Don't focus on the $20 or $30 purchase that a book is. Focus on building trust, credibility, and taking it to the next level with the back end of what's available in your business.
Yeah, I really like that. I do have a question I'm going to come back to on this topic, but before we get there, I wanted to circle back to I mentioned there are some case studies. We have a bunch of case studies of authors that you've helped publish. Can you talk about one or two in the services or the B2B world that have actually gone on and done the things that you talk about here, which is to leverage it to actually get opportunities? Mind?
Yeah, so a psychologist who grew her practice beyond 7 figures, Gerda Muller, she wrote a book with me. Now it's going back, 6 or 7 years ago. I love seeing it when it's been a number of years, because when it's been a number of years, you can see that growth into 7 and multi-7 figure level businesses. So what she did for herself is she built a 7-figure practice where other people are running it, and she became then a consultant for other psychologists to start running their own practices and building them up where they're self-sustaining rather than them being on the tools, as they say. And so, I see so many wonderful things. She runs her own masterminds, events, consulting, a ton of online courses that people who don't do her big high-end packages that they can get involved in. And so she's one. Dr. Jo over in Townsville, she created multiple books. So sometimes the strategy, some people write lots of books and then support them with online courses and speaking within corporations and facilitation and things like that. So that was another one. I've seen also mortgage brokers really skyrocket their businesses because they wrote a book, and it's so much easier to sell your service or high-end stuff to clients that say, oh, here's my book as a get to know me kind of thing. Who are you going to choose? A mortgage broker that doesn't have a book and just says they're an awesome mortgage broker, or one that actually says, hey, here, I've put all the hot tips within this book, and how about we work together? I know which one I would choose. That's how I chose my commercial buyer's advocate. So she's based over in Sydney, Helen Tarrant. I bought her book at the airport, and she took her book is called Cashed Up on Commercial Property. And I obviously didn't help her publish this book. However, I bought her book. I read the book while I was on holidays, and reached out to her company. I got on a call. I bought my first commercial property with her. That's exactly how it should happen.
Brilliant. And who knows, maybe she'll publish her next book through you. So that's really, really cool.
She's a great friend of mine now. So yeah.
No pressure over there, Helen. Okay, awesome. Now, if we're thinking about publishing, like writing the book, obviously we've got to write the book before we publish it, right? But what signs indicate that a business is ready to take on a book project? Like when is it, what are the things we should be looking for? A checklist or a few things we need to be aware of when we're like, okay, now's the time to do it. And what do you reckon about that?
Oh gosh. When I wrote my first book, I had one paying client. You know this story. And I wrote it because I really needed to taken seriously by other people because I felt like I was selling hot air as a life coach, and my first book was on weight loss. And so I always say it's never too early, and the first book's generally not going to be your last book. But if you want to, if you're really stuck to monetize what you're doing, it is an investment. Look, it's a serious investment, especially if you do it properly. You're going to look at anywhere between 10 to 20 grand to get it done properly and to get the support in how I market it and promote it and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, those business owners that have been out there for a while and they've already got case studies and success stories and their own, growth of their business, they should definitely be writing a book, because if you don't have it, you're missing out on so much passive income and opportunity that you can develop from your intellectual property. And you don't want your intellectual property to just kind of dissipate and you take it to the grave, which is not how us as society evolves. We evolve because we write the systems and and experience that we end up accumulating over decades in our heads, and we put that out into the world, and someone learns that shortcut and they improve on it and so on. So I say the ones that are already established and have already been doing stuff, you should definitely complement what you do with a book. But once starting out, do what I did. I created a book so I could get noticed, so I could fast track my credibility and monetizing my business.
Yeah, and something you said about that, your particular journey, was it actually helped you build confidence in yourself and your ability that your stuff. Like, it's like, oh, actually, wow, I actually have all this stuff in my head, and I'm putting it out. And I'm going through that journey, as we speak. Like, I publish a weekly newsletter, and it, to be honest, it's my hack for making sure that I keep myself accountable to writing every week. And because I know at the end of that, I'll work with an editor and then I'll do the things. But I think what it's really helped me to do is to unpack, like, oh wow, here are things that I know because I've been in the industry for 10 plus years. But then here are some things that I can do more research on, and here's where I need to maybe interview a few people who are experts to fill in the gaps, right? And I think it's a really good way to be collaborative as well. And I wanted to ask you about, because a lot of the conversation is around what do you do after the book is out, right? But I see sometimes for a lot of these first-time authors, they do this thing where, and I'm sure you've seen it, where they publish the book, but they don't tell anyone the book's coming. And then, they've gone through the whole process, and they're all of a sudden, hey guys, I'm launching my book on Amazon. It's 99 cents. Go grab it now. And it's like there's no lead up, right? So what's your take on that? And should there be a lead up, or how can we do that better?
Definitely. We actually pre-launch. Our final program is coming up in a couple of weeks' time, and on the first day of that program, we have got the mock-up cover created for the authors, which means they will pre-launch that end of day, which we'll share how for that to do it. They support one another as well. But what happens is now they're starting to build up a curiosity, and the followers that are first people that are going to purchase their book are generally going to be from their warm network and people that already like, know, and trust them. But what that does, it cures procrastination. Because when you have pre-sold a book and you've told people it's going to be out in the next 3 to 4 months, because the publishing process would take that long, all of a sudden they're giving you money for it and you feel an obligation to deliver on your promise, right? So the cure to procrastination, I say, is when you make a commitment to someone else. The other things I teach in the 3-day program are the pre-launch campaign. So just like you write a weekly newsletter or a blog or whatever, I encourage them to do a weekly video, a weekly email, a weekly, blog, like a number of different things. Get out there networking, share your mock-up cover, laminated mock-up cover. So over the 3-month period, you're just drip feeding and having lots of tips and hot content that you're releasing, so that when your book does come out, when you've said it's going to come out, you've already even pre-sold X amount of books, depending on the size of your networking, your efforts. But you're also now ready, to do a book launch and maybe set up a couple of events, maybe organize interviews where other people will talk about it, talk to people and collaborate with people who might be happy to share about your book to their databases. And, so setting up all the little missing little pieces. I mean, the Amazon bestseller campaign, we know it's a hack, but in reality, when most people don't know how it happens, when other people see that stamp on your book, they go, ooh, not only is it like I'm curious in this book, but it's a bestseller as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I like what you said about, maybe thinking about doing an event or a couple of events as part of your launch process.
Yeah.
Because where my mind goes, being marketing is kind of my life. I go to, well, if you're going to do an event, invite the people who are potentially going to be your clients to come into the room. Like
Yeah.
or the partners who can help you distribute, right? They're the ones that you want there. It's nice to have obviously mum, dad, and the kids, but it's I think it's a real good opportunity, and people like right now post pandemic, everyone wants to be in person. Like it's we love online, but in person is just a different vibe, and this is why I love showing up to your events. So we're gonna just shift gears a bit here into, we talked about how do you know when you're ready. Actionable tips for leveraging client attraction, right? So, okay, talked about pre-launch campaign. We talked a bit about post-launch, but what are some of the things you've seen that your authors are doing, that you teach, to actually ensure that the book does become an asset that opens doors and opportunities, and it's not something that just you buy 100 copies for yourself and it sits in your garage and doesn't go anywhere. I've heard that happen from a few authors as well. But I think, what can we're talking to a business audience here. What can they do to make sure that it actually becomes the vehicle to generate more business for them?
Great. So within the book, it starts from within the book, right? And I always say to have 3 calls to action within the book. One is to help your reader download some kind of a free resource that's not in competition with the book, but it's complementary. This is going to help you build more leads and get more prospects. And by the way, this lead magnet can be utilized in other ways. You don't have to just create it for the book, but make sure you have it there. And make sure you mention it in the first 10 pages of your book, because if people download the sample from Amazon, and they get to your freebie because they didn't buy the whole book, you'll still get that lead into your business. So that's one hot tip that I think everyone should do if they have a business behind their book. The second thing your book should have is a speaker bio. So speaker bio is just like a one-page graphically designed little page that you can even print off aside from the book, because then you can carry your speaker bio in your bag when you're meeting people out and about, and put yourself forward. And your speaker bio has a little intro of who you are, photos of you maybe speaking, any media, any bits and pieces like that, and maybe 3 keynote presentations that you could deliver to an audience. So that lets people know when they get to the back of the book that you're available as a speaker. And you might also, as your third offer, have your high-end programs described, but you don't need to put any prices there. You can have like an inquiry QR code or whatever it is for people to then reach out and have that's how I got back in touch with Helen. Like I booked it with her company to have a chat about buying a commercial property when I got to those pages of the back of the book. So the back of the book should always have offers. Plaster your book everywhere, please. Too many authors I see, they write a book, it's not on their social media profiles. It's not even on their websites. It's like, it's nowhere. Like, it's like, why are you plastering your book everywhere? Because that's the thing that stands beside you to build your credibility, right? It's really, really key. And wherever you are, I highly recommend, any events that you speak at, donate your book as a door prize, because you might get pulled up on the stage and when they're announcing the door prize and everyone then notices you. And that's gotten me speaking gigs, has gotten me clients. Don't be scared of giving away some of your books for free, because it's really powerful to build like, know, and trust with the organizers, who are like the key people of influence in that room, but also with the people who notice you, because in a room of 50, 100 people, you don't know who you're meant to talk to, right? But people, when they notice you, they'll come up to you afterwards. I love those little strategies. And of course, I'm a big event person, as you say, online. It's been good. It made us thrive during COVID, but gosh, I've been so excited to get back out there now, completing 9 face-to-face events and having another 24 scheduled for 2025 are definitely the vibe, and the mental well-being that it gives us being at a live event. And if you host those, you tenfold the how fast you can build credibility with people, like trust. I feel when I meet them in the room, it's like 10 times faster than if someone comes to my online seminar. They might forget me in a month or so, Whereas the ones because I just did a ring around of everyone that listened to my seminar this year, the ones I met in real life rooms, the warmth and the kind of, yes, we've met each other, I know exactly who you are, blah, 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 versus ones that were in my seminar months ago online, a little bit less of a kind of rapport, still warm, but not quite the same feeling when you meet someone in real life.
When we meet in person, it just like fast track the relationship, because I think it's more if there's body language going on, you can sense if they're really talking to you and looking at you when they're talking to you and not getting distracted by other things going on behind the screen. There's so much more to it. There's different conversation there, but I think I'm with you. I'm just so glad that you're back on the seminar circuit, or whatever you want to call that. But you've definitely seen over the years the power of in person for building brand and business. So fantastic. We talked about are there any other maybe some kind of unique or interesting strategies you've seen in terms of book marketing or book promotion? And I really like, because you said something there about give your book away. Like, it's actually you're not, unless your goal is to become New York Times bestseller, like that's the goal, then that's a different goal to I'm using it to grow my business or grow my influence. But I'm curious if you've seen any kind of unusual strategies for book promotion that's either you've done or someone else has done that you thought, that's pretty interesting.
I know a lot of my authors, some of them when they do speaking, nowadays everyone knows how to use a QR code. So giving away, part of the book to draw leads from a speaking gig, that's been one thing that works really, really well and grows your database. Another one that I used to do a while back is webinar swaps. Like with somebody who's got a similar audience to you, but is not in competition with you. So they promote your webinar. Let's say like you and I, you are, I guess, doing an interview for me in front of your followers and audience and things like that. And then we could swap, and I could do an interview for you because you do different things to what I do. And all of a sudden we kind of are talking in front of the right people, because I mean, there's so many people out there in the world, but not all of them are our ideal clients. So interview swaps, webinar swaps, all that. And I believe when you interview people, you deepen a relationship with them. So if you ever want to collaborate with someone that's kind of maybe even more successful than you and you're maybe a bit intimidated by them, if you just ask to interview them, it's very flattering, and you kind of go in with a real soft approach, and you can carry on the relationship. I mean, you and I have had a relationship now, I think it's more than 10 years. We've caught up. We don't even live in the same city, but we don't have to see each other every year and all that sort of stuff. But we now have a real knowing of who we are as people, and that takes a bit of time to build. But when you are doing this over a number of years with many different people over the world, all of a sudden you end up with a pool of many people, key people of influence, who can help you promote when the time comes, and you can help them out, vice versa. The key thing here, though, is the power of building your database, because if you don't have anything to give in return to people who will help you as well, then and that's why the lead magnet I said, and the QR, building your database from the stage and just continuing to nurture them, that's what gives you the power, because it gives you not only the power, the money is in the list, but it gives you the power to be able to swap the list with somebody else.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And it just reminds me of one of the gripes I have with authors that I've tried. Well, there's been several occasions where authors have come to me and they've said, we see you've got a popular podcast, we want to be a guest on your show. And then when I go back to them and I say, well, that's great. Two things. One, are you open to sharing the podcast after we record to your audience? And then secondly, are you okay with giving me the book so I can read it? So I educate myself on what you do. And then they say no. They say no. You have to buy the book. And then I just put the bad vibes. Like, I'm like, well, you're trying to get in front of my audience. So what's in it for me, right? Anyway, I don't know. I just want to share
It needs
because
to
that,
be it needs to be a win-win. I mean, that's the same strategy I said. You give away your book as a door prize to an event organizer. Why? Because they've got the audience and they're the most powerful person in the room as the leader of that particular event. So you're not going to make them buy the book. You give it as a door prize because then they like you more faster and they might give you a speaking gig in a few months' time, which has happened multiple times to me.
Yeah. Well, we're on the same page. Awesome. So I'm going to respect, I know you have to run off and do some amazing things today. So let's talk about some of these events that are coming up. What can people expect from your half-day workshop? And yeah, what's, why should they attend that?
Yeah, well, it's been running 11 years and it's only because of the wonderful feedback that we get. We've kind of did a bit of the numbers that we've run it probably over 370 times now over 11 years and always live. One thing that I haven't, like, you know how people do evergreen webinars and pre-recorded this and pre-recorded that. I just feel like I don't feel the closeness to the people. I think my flavor and my personality is to be there in the moment. And that's why, as you say, perhaps we've sustained for so long and we are consistently growing and kind of staying where we want to be at. So the event, the face-to-face one is 4 hours and it's richer in content than the online one, which is 2 hours because obviously there's more stuff that you can talk about. We go through a live demo of a book unpacking the room. We talk about the mindset. Definitely we want to help you get out of your own way and get over yourself. We talk about the publishing industry. Now that AI is so hot in the world, we've brought in an aspect of answering questions around getting assistance through AI, not writing a book using AI because it just wouldn't be authentic or truly you. And we go through the leverage strategies and what questions you need to ask when you consider someone who is going to take you through the publishing of the book. How do you do your due diligence and all of that sort of stuff? So I love the event. As you said, we are going to be touring. But yeah, we've got Sydney next week on the 14th of November, which is Thursday. It's always in the morning, and so you're done by lunch, 9 to 1. And then Melbourne's coming up on the 26th of November, which is a Tuesday. And the final online for the year is on the 3rd of December. So if you're not local to those cities, then come to the online one. Or you can even ping me through my website, and I can send you a recording of it if you don't want to. If you're impatient and you just want to watch it as soon as possible. We just did one a couple of days ago. And then later I'm going to be in LA. I am doing my first, we're heading up for a white Christmas in Canada. However, we're stopping across in Hawaii and then LA, and we're going to be running one on the 12th of December there in LA, which is exciting. I haven't done one over there for about 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a lot of Canadian and USA authors due to COVID. And actually, Singapore is another place that we are regularly now advertising to. So we have quite a few Singapore authors, and we'll be doing an event there next year as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, I've dropped the link in the comments for everyone on LinkedIn and on Facebook, so you can grab them there and sign up for Melbourne, 26th of November. Sydney's on the 14th of November, so coming up real soon. And then online was the 3rd of December. And then LA was on the, what date was that? 12th. Okay. And you can contact Nat to get links for that. And obviously her website's writeabook.com.au if you want to go there. I also wanted to give a shout out to Karen, who gave us a comment here. That's something you said, Nat. She said, I love the way you are chatting about hitting all touch points with your potential clients and champions and how that builds trust, especially when you are face to face. So Karen's giving you a thumbs up for the way you do the things you do, Nat.
But it's rewarding. I tell you what, I was so sick of running live events just pre-COVID, and I was wondering, oh my God, how many planes do I need to get on still? And now that I've been online for 4 years until June, when I started back up, I was just like, oh my God, online is not all cracked up to be like fully, like my bum started getting sore in the chair because of too much like sitting in front of computer screens. I want to just move my body. And so I think a good mix of both next year, 24 live, 10 online I think it's going to be the perfect recipe.
Now, Karen, I know Karen's in, so I work with Karen. She has an amazing social enterprise that we work on together called Our Kinds. And she's got a ton of stories I think would be amazing for a book, but I'll let her talk to you about that. Now, she's also based in Tasmania right now. So you do any plans to go to Tassie next year or to Perth?
I'm sorry. I am going all the way to Perth and Adelaide, but no, Tassie people generally fly up to Melbourne to do their event.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I think Karen's. She spends a lot of time in Melbourne anyway, so all good. All right, now I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today, and just for your amazing energy and what you do to the world, and beyond. Successful business person, successful entrepreneur, book writer, book publisher, all of that. You're just one of the best humans that I know, and that's why I just love spending time with you. So thank you so much for joining me.
Next week, sushi dinner.
That's right, sushi dinner, and Cindy will be there, and we'll just have a bit of fun and stew as well. So let's make that happen. Thanks so much, and for everyone else, head over to writeabook.com.au or just hit us up on the socials, and certainly definitely check out what Nat's doing and join her workshop. Thanks, everyone.
Guys, bye.